Digital fraud attempts in the country have become rampant amid the COVID-19 pandemic. How do we protect ourselves from these threats? Let's get the views of Transunion CEO Pia Arellano. Pia, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Briefly, what are the important findings from this latest fraud report for the third quarter?
Thanks, Rico, again for having us here. So happy to share the latest findings from our fraud report. So during Q2 of this year, we actually saw digital fraud attempts originating from the Philippines decreasing by 11% year over year. So the largest declines came from two sectors. Gaming went down by 53%, along with the financial services sector down by 16%. Third would be online dating sites and retail, tied at going down, decreasing by 14% year over year. So just for context, Rico, the fraud report that we share is really based on intelligence from billions of transactions in about 40,000 websites and apps, which are contained in our flagship fraud analytics platform called TruValidate.
So despite the decrease in the numbers, people are still being targeted in phishing, money scams, or third-party seller scams, which is so prevalent now.
Yes. Exactly. I mean, even if we did see a decrease last quarter, again, there's nothing that should stop us from not being vigilant. We have to continue to be on our toes and on our feet and guard against these scams, for sure.
And how many people have become victims of these scams, Pia?
So based on the last report, about 45% of Filipinos said that they were targeted by these online scams. However, they did not become victims. However, 11% did fall prey and actually became victims to attempts like phishing, money scams, and like what you said, third-party seller scams on legitimate online retail websites.
So what kind of advice can you give our viewers right now to evade and fight these fraud attempts and protect ourselves from them?
Okay, so I guess, Rico, again, there's so many fraudulent scams and attacks in a fraudster's arsenal, right? But allow me to just focus on the two most important ones, which are really in the news lately, both smishing and phishing, right? So both essentially have the same objective, right? And that is to induce consumers to give personal sensitive information. So information like bank account details, passwords, usernames, etc. So which will allow fraudsters to commit their cyber crimes. Now, the difference lies in form factor. So when we say phishing, it means fake emails. When we say smishing, that means text messages, right? Scams in the forms of text messages. Now, both modes typically work on either fear, your account has been compromised, or on the converse, surprise. So you've won a raffle, you have an existing exciting job opportunity, and for both, there is usually a great sense of urgency to take action. So for phishing, some tips that we have, be very, very cautious again against opening mysterious emails from unfamiliar sources. Check that the link also came from official websites, right, with the correct branding, no spelling or grammatical errors, and be wary of shortened URLs. And lastly, also, I guess as a preventive measure for phishing, always secure your email account, right? So create a unique and strong password, refresh your browser constantly, and always block suspicious emails. Lastly, for smishing, be wary of text messages with clicking links, right, from unknown numbers, which promises cash, discounts, job offers, etc. Again, usually legitimate text messages will have this, the company's name as the sender and not an unfamiliar number.
And Pia, I've heard this kind of advice from many cybersecurity experts that have interviewed through the years. But do we ever learn? Do we become smarter?
I know.
Despite all of this advice.
Exactly. It's really difficult, Rico, and it's tough to read a fraudster's mind, right? At the end of the day, we don't really know what they're going to attack. But one thing we know for sure, they will go where the money is and where people will spend, right? So that they're definitely one step ahead. So I guess there's the only thing that we can really do is continue that cross-collaboration and that collaborative trifecta, I would say, between the public sector, the private sector, and of course, the consumers being informed.
So we all have to be smarter, even smarter than fraudsters for all of these potential frauds. Thank you so much.
At least we can try.
We can try. Thank you so much for your insights and for joining us in the final word, TransUnion's CEO, Pia Arellano.